Sad news that we heard of yesterday. Fans around the country are mourning the death of Chicago radio legend Doug Bionce. After being off the air for periods of time for failing health, he died yesterday from complications of diabetes, kidney failure. According to some sources, he was only 57 years old. He's a Philadelphia native. He came to Chicago via Detroit, L.A., Las Vegas, and San Francisco before hosting the morning show on the old WBMX, then WGCI from 1987 to 1994, a nationally syndicated show, and finally back home to V103 from 2008 until last Friday, where he just appeared last Friday at the Black Women's Expo at McCormick Place.
Now, yesterday in a beautiful tribute on his show, friends and colleagues reflected on Doug Bionce.
And that included Bionce Foxx, who worked with Doug at 3 radio stations, including V103, where her midday show is heard right before his. That starts at 2 o'clock. I listened to most of the show yesterday with you and your colleagues, and it was sad and it was celebratory. That had to be one of the most difficult things that all of you have done, I'll bet.
It was so hard. My boss, Derek Brown, walked in. He's like, I've got some news. And I was like, I already know, because it was all over social media. Yeah. So imagine being on air and getting this news. I broke down for a second, but then I said, okay, you got to toughen up. What would Doug do? So I toughened up and I went on the air, and shortly thereafter I mentioned the passing of Doug Bionce, who is indeed a radio legend. We all looked up to him. I grew up listening to him on WGCI. The Doug Bionce show was larger than life.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want to be on his show? So I had the opportunity to be on his show, and then to have him follow me every day at 2 o'clock. It was just like, wow, this guy's gone.
One of the things that really struck me in listening to that show, though, it was so in Doug's character. It was fun, and it was celebratory, and it was silly, and really like all of the things that he would have loved. And what are some of the things that you take, you know, having worked with him, learned from him, whether he officially mentored you or not, you must have picked things up from him.
I got to tell you the story, Dean. It's kind of outside radio a little bit. My sister and I performed at a talent show at the New Regal Theater years ago. We won first place. Part of that first place prize was being on the Doug Bionce show. This was huge. I'm a teenager. I get to go on the Doug Bionce show on WGCI. He looked at me after the interview and he said, "You have a voice for radio."
Wow.
Little did I know, years later as an adult, he would be following my radio show every day. So that right there just amazes me. When I think back on that, I'm like, wow, this man knew something that I didn't know before I knew it. So there's that connection there. 2, the fact that he was just a genuine guy. So nice. Everybody loved Doug Bionce. He was larger than life, and he still is, and his spirit will definitely live on the airwaves at V103 every day.
Beyonce, did anyone have an idea how ill he was? He had been taking some time off.
Yeah, he had taken several weeks off earlier this year, late last year, due to his diabetes. He made it well known that he was suffering from this disease. So when he came back, he sounded so good, vibrant, energetic. We had no idea that his demise would be there shortly thereafter.
Oh, it's so sad.
Doug was here, had been on our show here several times, and when he walks in the room, I mean, the whole room lights up.
Yeah.
He completely takes over. That's the the public Doug Bionce. What would surprise us about Doug Bionce? About sort of the private Doug Bionce that you knew when the mics were turned off?
Yeah, it's almost what you get. What you see is what you get, Dean. What you saw and heard on air is the same Doug Bionce just walking down the hallway. Always so cordial, always so nice, smile, just loves everybody, not an enemy in the world. People just love this guy. He was a good guy all around.
He leaves behind a wife and 2 daughters. Has anyone been in touch with the family?
No, I haven't. I don't know if anyone else has, but they are definitely in our prayers, because he would talk about his wife and daughters on air all the time and just absolutely, of course, adored them.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts this morning, Beyonce. It's good to see you, and sorry it's under these circumstances.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Thanks, Beyonce.
We're going to take a break and take a check of the weather. Hey, Paul.
Hi, guys. We're looking at sunshine. It's 32 degrees.